Welcome back, Lords and Ladies. King right here, and I am your host for this evening. Okay, so let's get right into the tutorial. This tutorial is all about Blood Magic Tier 3. There is a shitload of what is going on here. It's like, that boy oh shit hello, or whatever that meme says. Okay, so how do we get to Tier 3? This is the setup here. You can now replace your corners. In the previous Tier 2, you could not replace the corners. They had to be blank like that. But now, in Tier 2, you can replace, Tier 3, you can replace the corners for the Tier 2 area. In the Tier 3 area, you will have an extra 20 runes, 5, 10, 15, 20. Also, on the corners, you have to bring it up 2 blocks, and then on top has to be glowstone. These can be any blocks. It can be cobblestone, it can be glass, but it has to be 2 blocks top like this. And this will give you a Tier 3 altar. Now let's get into what Tier 3 has to offer you. In order to move on to anything in a Tier 3 section, you have to first make the Magician's Blood Orb. The Magician's Blood Orb is a Tier 3 Blood Orb, which costs you 25,000 life from the Blood Altar. But it gives you a maximum of your soul network, 150,000. That is pretty good. Next is the Imbued Slate. This is required for any Tier 3 stuff. That is going to be sigils or even runes. You have to have the Imbued Slate. To get the Imbued Slate, you need 5,000 LP and put a reinforced slate in there. So 1 reinforced slate turns into 1 imbued slate. Next thing is the weak activation crystal. Now we're getting into the fun part. In Tier 3, you're going to actually start to create some rituals. These things are going to be wonderful for you once you get into them. But I'm going to have to split this Tier 3 tutorial into maybe 2 videos because there's just so much going on. I'm just showing you the basics right now of what you get. In the next video, I'm going to show you the rituals and perhaps even the soul armor, the bound armor. Now, what does how do you get the weak activation crystal? The weak activation crystal requires 10,000 LP in your blood altar and a lava crystal. You put the lava crystal in there and it will create a weak activation crystal. Just like the sigils and blood orbs, you have to shift right click to bind it to your character. That way it uses your LP in order to activate the ritual. Now these 2 things here are the building blocks for the ritual. There's the ritual stone, which is created by Tier 2 Apprentice Blood Orb with Tier 2 reinforced slates and 4 obsidian. But the reason why I didn't bring that up over in Tier 2 is because the Master Ritual Stone requires the Tier 3 Magician's Blood Orb, which also requires 4 Ritual Stones. Remember, this is how you make a Ritual Stone, and 4 obsidian to make just one Master Ritual Stone. From here, this allows you to continue on to Tier 4 or do some extra little goodies off to the side. So first is the weak blood shard. In order to get the weak blood shard, you have to kill mobs with the bound blade. I will be showing you in the rituals tutorial how to get the bound tools. Now this is the large bloodstone brick. This is required for Tier 4 blood altars. You get 32 large bloodstone brick, which is going to be more than enough for 1 weak blood shard and 1 stone. That is more than enough to continue on to the next tier. Now these are demonic blood shards. They really don't do you much. You can only attain them by killing summoned elementals. The elementals do not have to be killed while under the weakness debuff from a bound weapon in order to have a chance of dropping the shard. But this shard is specifically for making the Blood Staff core, but you can also use it to awaken Activation Crystal and the Archmage's Blood Orb. Now there's a few more goodies that we get to check out. These are optional goodies that you can do just for a little extra fun while you have this tier 3 going on for you. One, you could upgrade your tier 3 instead of just using self-sacrifice runes like I would be using. You could actually start upgrading it with Rune of Augment Capacity, up to 2,000 LP max in the altar per one of these. It takes 14 of these to be more resourceful than a previous one that increases the value of how much can be inside the altar. Now to create them, you have to have 4 stone, 4 empty buckets, a Magician's Blood Orb, and an Imbued Slate. Remember, Imbued Slates are tier 3. Next one is going to be the Rune of Dislocation. For those who are moving large amounts of essence from one pool to another or across the world even, this is going to be a rune for you. It increases the speed at which the life essence is pumped in or out of the altar by 20% per. So to create it, you're going to need 4 stone, an Imbued Slate, a Magician's Blood Orb, plus 4 water buckets. Now this here is extremely helpful. This is called the Sigil of Sight. It is the upgraded version of the Divination Sigil. In technicality, you could actually make this, I do believe, in the first tier. I waited till this tier because this is a fancy one, and you normally don't worry about the ins and outs of this type, the blood altar, until tier 3 or higher. So what it does, it shows the progress, consumption, current essence, and the input or output of the altar. It does all of them at one time. To create it, you need a bucket of life, a Divination Sigil, an Apprentice Blood Orb or higher, and 6 glass. In order to get a bucket of life, you just put a bucket in a altar that has 1,000 LP in it. Now we got the Sigil of Magnetism. The Sigil of Magnetism does exactly what it says. Anything within a 5 meter or 5 block radius of your player will be sucked right into you, right to you. But it's 50 LP for every 10 seconds. That's really not a lot considering how useful this can be, especially when you're building. So to create it, you're going to need quite an expensive allotment of resources. First, you need 4 iron blocks. You need 3 gold ingots, an Imbued Slate, and your Magician's Blood Orb. Now, every blood magician who loves keeping sigils on them loves this one specific sigil. It is called the Sigil of Holding. While you have sigils in your pocket, you can shift right-click the Sigil of Holding to put those sigils into the Sigil of Holding, and then you just shift and scroll wheel in order to change the sigils that it's going to be. Now, it can only store up to 4 other sigils, unfortunately, and only basic sigils. It can't be compact sigils like the Sigil of the Elemental. So, to create the Sigil of Holding, you have to have 4 blank slates, 3 stone, an Imbued Slate, and a Magician's Blood Orb. Now, the rest of this stuff is going to be gone over in the next episode or 2, depending on what we have to go through. There is demon summoning, there's soul forge, there's rituals, there are alchemy that we have to do. I'm just going to show you the basics on how to for these items here. So this is going to be the demon summoning part. The Arcane Pedestal is going to be discussed later in a different video, but I'll show you how to create it. You just need 1 weak blood shard, and 6 obsidian. You will need a lot of those arcane pedestals for the demon summoning, but only 1 arcane plinth. To create an arcane plinth, you need 1 arcane pedestal and 6 blocks of iron. Next item on the agenda is actually just a decoration block. It can't be used in anything. It cannot be used to replace those for the altar, but it is the bloodstone brick. You can put 4 bloodstone together to get 4 bloodstone bricks. If you want to create yourself some advanced rituals, you're going to have to awaken your activation crystal. We'll go over that when it is time to do alchemy tutorials. These next 3 parts are actually going to be in the next tutorial most likely, because this is the bound armor, the Soul Forge. I'll show you how to create this in this episode though. First, what you need to do is get yourself an empty socket. To create an empty socket, you have to have 4 weak blood shards, 4 glass, and 1 diamond. Next, what you need is to fill that empty socket in a altar with 30,000 life points. 30,000. Lastly, what you need is to create the Soul Forge, the Soul Armor Forge. The Soul Armor Forge requires 4 filled sockets, 4 stone, and a Magician's Blood Orb. Now, if you plan on doing this ahead of the tutorial, I'm going to tell you, you're going to need at least 24 of these Soul Armor Forges, and then 24 times 4 of these filled sockets in order for you to even create a full set of bound armor. But really, that's all you can do for tier 3 until I show you in next video the rituals, the bound armor, and perhaps we'll go into the alchemy part also before we go into tier 4. I might wait on the alchemy part till tier 3 or something like that. I mean tier 4. Just forget I said that. Okay, so basically I'm just going to say, if you lords and ladies enjoyed this episode, please leave a big fat like, comment, and subscribe. I also look forward to the next tutorial. Bye bye now and enjoy.